Hey there, chart friends. Lamont here from JKS, checking in on the solar sector and the win name and that ETF. Boom, nailed it. Okay, so starting off with 10 on the daily time frame, we are just being mindful of this sideways range that we're in. So it's a bit of an EQ, although it's not an idealized EQ. I suppose you could call it a double top. But we did break resistance by a little bit. So this trend line, what we're just watching, is based off of these pivots way back here. So I know that there's like the potential of a channel-like structure, but I think what was going on was I just couldn't really. I didn't really settle on any parallel lines that I like, but there are plenty of lines that are giving you multiple hits on the support and the resistance. So the resistance line I'm actually quite confident in, just because it has three affirmations here or confirmations here. And then the lower trend lines, all of them only have two. So, I am being mindful of that. But really, I care much more about the horizontal levels than I do about the diagonal ones. The diagonal ones are, certainly, they're helpful, right? But I find them less actionable. I suppose that's a good way to put it. Okay, so we're looking at the sideways range, bit of an EQ right now, and the potential to set a daily high or low, anything over 106.88 is of course fairly high. Okay, so we're just gonna ideally be doing our shopping in hourly oversold conditions, right? So now that it appears at least that the hourly trend is likely bearish, but it's not very convincing, right? If you think about it, if you were a bear and you saw this bear break of this support level here with just no follow through, although the bulls didn't really show up to play defense either, but my point is you don't really want to see these bear breaks with minimal follow through. So essentially what's happening is you have the old transactions, right? The buyers here, all these buyers down here who thought no, price is actually fair higher, they are stepping in, right? You can see all this volume down here compared to a little bit less up here, right? So I mean, I would not be surprised by a little break of the support here, come down and test these 115s where the shelf is, and maybe fill out this volume a bit before price kind of decides whether or not it wants to mark up or mark down. Now that being said, having gapped up and then close the gap and then rip right back over it is a pretty good look for bulls. Okay, so the sector is positioned well technically and then also fundamentally, right? Given the all the clean energy pushes and whatnot. And I will say that it's not this sector is not quite like EV, right? EV is definitely getting a lot more hype, like news coverage and whatnot. And I wonder, how much volume is retail volume is coming into these names, because the market caps are still, freaking tiny, right? So like, let's see, JKS, is like our primary trade. It's a 3 billion market cap, run is 14. These are all, low to medium cap names, so who knows? It's things could get, I guess, a little wild if let's say some of the let's say like because rotation is very common, right? And it's not always within the sector, like between tickers. It's often between the sectors as well. So I don't think it would be absurd to potentially see like EV, like clean energy or clean energy associated sectors start seeing this kind of rotation game within them. So like fan money, fan energy, and clean energy will, when there's profit taking there, perhaps some of those profits may go to the EV sector and whatnot, any kind of associated tickers. So just something to consider going forward, and we'll be mindful of that. And of course, I'll bring it up if it ever starts to develop more. Okay, so we are looking for this daily high or low. We're looking for it in hourly oversold conditions, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Maybe you'd start on this like lowest close here of this entire structure, I suppose. I don't hate that. And then coming all the way down here, yeah, I don't hate that. Okay, and of course, if you want to be a bit more aggressive, that's fine too. You would just be looking for something like that, right? Bottom fishing the structure still, but just not giving a lot of wiggle room, and that's totally fine. I set it up really large like that because I just don't know how it's going to open tomorrow, and I'm trying to set everybody up the best for like a structure to play off of, right? Okay. All right, so my point is, by that statement, like, just because I'm looking for this is my zone of interest, if you see a waterfall down into here, then the odds of it crashing all the way down here are probably pretty low, right? So that's a situation where instead of being scaling in this big range, maybe you'll do it like that, okay, like a waterfall. All right, kind of like this, I guess. Yeah, there's not much of a bounce. You know, if there, it's a little ruined by this little bounce here, but this is pretty much a straight shot from this high, right? Look how vertical it is. All right, so we're just watching that daily range going sideways, being mindful of key supports, and the key support for the daily higher low is at 106.88. Okay, so JKS, we are just continuing to watching. We are continuing to what? We are continuing to watch. We are continuing to watch this sideways range. It's potentially a monthly bull flag. It's probably best seen on the monthly time frame. Okay. All right, so potentially a monthly bull flag, and of course on the daily, it looks like this kind of choppy consolidation structure because, as we know, consolidation structures very often will have choppy price action. Okay, so the trends become less reliable. All right, I apologize if you watch these videos and you've heard me say that 1,000 times. It's worth repeating. Okay, so we're just watching this sideways range again. Whenever we're range bound, the best plays are bottom fishing and top fishing the range. But that being said, this is quite a lot of space where you would anticipate at least a higher low, even if we were to break to lower lows from here. Okay, so again, as we always do, we will look for an hourly oversold condition, but really there's no sign of bears yet. And so we're not, oh, actually that's not true. So if bears can step in tomorrow and defend this high of 75.27 and break to lower lows under 65.75, then they'll change that hourly trend, and then we can be bottom fishing these lows over here in hourly oversold conditions, potentially off of that median line as well, to look for a daily pivot. Okay. All right, so looking for a daily higher low into the median line, bottom fishing these levels potentially. All right, it's up to you how you want to formulate that trade. If you think, okay, well, if those supports break, then I don't want to be in it, that's fine. Cap your risk appropriately. If you think, no, I only want to play the channel support down here, that's fine too. It's a matter of preference, right? And I bet you both can play out, right? On the hourly chart, there's the potential for price to come down, give a little bounce, and then break to lower lows, give more bounce, and then maybe we can make our way back up here. Okay, so you know, just keep a very open mind. Price can always do whatever the heck it wants, especially when it's in a consolidation structure, and even more so when that consolidation structure is just straight up sideways. Okay, run, trying to close the gap here. Do we have, there should have been a, let's see. That's the new one, like if there's no position, but I believe that I already had something set up here, and I know that there was a relief bounce off of that position. I must have moved him. All right, so we'll just start from scratch. We set up a trade back here that was bottom, or rather buying this potential support that was prior resistance. And so this should have been a chop and stop if you're in from there. So if you didn't stop out and you just lowered your cost basis and you are scaling in to continue to look for a daily higher low, even though, yeah, I don't really consider this a trend change. It's the same candle as the higher low and a lower high, so I don't love that. I just consider this one leg down. So technically, like to me, I'm still looking for a daily higher low with anything over 63.52 being one. So now, obviously, if you're not in a position or you got one fill and you pulled those fills lower, and so you just have that one fill at a relatively low cost basis, you're probably around break even right now. So if we continue to get into hourly oversold conditions, then I would be fine with scaling again, right? So taking that rest of their risk capital, because if you only got that one fill with me, then theoretically you had 2 more fills planned. And if you took half, then now you have 2.5, right? Your risk capital is still, you have most of it ready to deploy. And if that's the case, then I would redeploy it in any hourly oversold bounce. Or if you want to be conservative, you can wait for enough hourly oversold. We can wait for enough hourly bounce to anticipate a higher low, like over here, realizing that it may not change the hourly trend to set the daily higher low. Okay, so this is our zone of interest, and I would be fine just like that. Even if we were to bounce up on the hourly, cool off the hourly RSI, come back down in hourly oversold conditions, bounce and cool, I would play all those as well, just like that Neo trade if you watch the EV, right? Because you just don't know if any of these bounces will stick, but if you're comfortable playing the bounces themselves, you can chop it up, take some profit, and protect your position, and have that capital freed up in case price comes lower. Okay, so we're looking out for the potential of this area here to set a daily higher low, just being mindful of the hourly trend. The last hourly lower high was at 81.73. Any bounce is likely to set a lower high under 81.73. And if the bears are able to defend that low and punch it below this, we don't even know this is a low, below 75.36 or whichever low they set tomorrow, then they will continue to carry that hourly bear trend down and have bulls continuing to scalp that daily higher low, again with anything over 63.52 being one. Okay, FSLR. I think FSLR maybe is going to pop soon because today I had the thought of I don't want to cover it anymore. Just like just like NEE over here. Okay, so who knows? I'm largely kidding. Haha, but anyway, with FSLR in the daily chart is really just sideways. So we had this bull break into all-time high. That was a bit of a fake out. And now we're just watching this daily sideways range roughly between 97-ish and under 110. Okay, so again, whenever we're sideways, all we care about is the sideways action. And so if we can come down here and get hourly oversold into the channel, I would be interested in a long. Otherwise, I don't really care about FSLR and almost stopped covering you, but I know that there's a member, whatever. Okay, so NEE. NEE had a big inside bar today, potentially looking at the beginning of daily consolidation, anything over, and this is technically a daily higher low at 78.54, but really the one that I care the most about is all the way back here. I don't know why that's there, that shouldn't be there. All the way back here at 73.58, okay? So let's check to see if the hourly trend is bearish, and if it's not, there's a potential that we can just go sideways here, right? So let's not assume anything. The hourly trend is not, technically it's not confirmed yet. So we do have a lower high, but this is technically a higher low over these lows over here. Okay, so then again, this is an hourly lower high under this lower high here, 87.49. So if the bears can show up and defend this 85.73 level and break to lower lows tomorrow under 84.75, that'll be the beginning of daily consolidation. And then bulls will be scouting anything over 78.54 being one. And right now, this stands out to me right away that this little rejection, this last major rejection area, this highest close from there, it's lining up very well with this hourly oversold. And there's also a bunch of volume here, right? There was a little grindy action here. So if we're going to start playing hourly oversold balances, I like it over there. All right, we're looking for that daily higher low. Something like that. Okay, I like it just like that. All right. Yep. All right. So mindful of that hourly trend, looking for a daily higher low. And ICLN. So there is the potential of this to set up. Let me kill this laser show a little bit. We don't need this anymore. Don't need that. Don't need this. We don't need this. And this is still on the table. Okay, so we will be mindful of the potential because now again we're looking for a daily higher low. Right, so anything over 31.57 will be a daily higher low for ICLN. I guess we can leave it. Checking out the hourly trend. The hourly trend is bearish, but again, not exactly the kind of bear action that you would want to see as a bear. That being said, the volume is very choppy, and so I would not be surprised if it came down to test these lows. And so I would be still really looking for the very similar trade, honestly. I would just be bottom fishing, right? So something like that. Okay. And so we have a fill for the potential of the collapse of this support. We have a little above. Prices are probably going to become above. So we want to, be. Oh, actually, I typically like to use the lowest closes. Yeah. All right. So something like that. Oops. And if you want to include this potential trend line, that's fine. Maybe expand your range. Come a little lower, be a bit more conservative. I don't know, up to you. But the idea is we want to get hourly oversold conditions into these supports over here. All right, looking for that daily higher low. So key support tomorrow is 31.96. If bears can hold this level of 32.44 and break that support of 31.96, they'll continue the hourly trend bearish and have bulls scouting that daily higher low. Again, anything over 30.27 being one. Oh, that's why that was there. I see. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all soon. Guess I never see you guys, huh? You can send me pictures.